She came to her senses. Something must have hit her in the head. Boom. She told ESPN, we're looking for a good deal to get done. But I think we're also prepared for whatever it takes for that to happen, while also understanding that we want a 2026 season. You better want a 2026 season. You better.
The president of the WNBA Players Union just made a statement that sent shockwaves through the entire league. After months of aggressive language about strikes and bargaining power, Nneka Ogwumike suddenly shifted her position in a major way. And the reason for that shift? It has everything to do with the influence of Caitlin Clark and the long-awaited arrival of real money into the league. But what she's actually communicating behind closed doors is the part most people aren't ready to hear.
High level, and I think the most important thing for myself, thinking about these CBA negotiations, like, this is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. And we're going to fight for everything that we deserve, but at the same time, like, we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave, and that's what all of you crave as well, is you want the product on the floor. And at the end of the day, that's how you make the money, that's how you're marketable, that's what the fans get excited about, that's what the fans want to show up for. So, it's business and it's a negotiation, and there has to be compromise on both sides. And, we're starting to get down to the wire of it, and it's become really important. And, obviously I want to help in any way I can, and I tried to educate myself the best I can. Obviously I can't speak to every single number, it's pretty complicated, but I think there are different things that we can find ways to say, no, like, we certainly deserve that and we're not going to compromise on that, and then other things that we can probably compromise on. But like I said, like, this is the biggest moment in the history of the WNBA, and I don't want that to be forgotten. It's important that we find a way to play this next season, and I think our fans, and even everybody that has played in this league that has come before us, deserve that as well.
I'm curious just on the...
It's really just talking to people to see about the status of different players.
So here's the real question that needs answering. If you're a WNBA player right now, are you honestly thinking about sitting out the 2026 season just as the league is finally becoming profitable? Or would that be one of the worst decisions imaginable? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this situation is unraveling faster than anyone expected.
Let it be known, the players remain united, resolute, and prepared to fight for their value and for their future. Signed by Martin Luther King Jr. Like, God damn, you making it seem like we fighting for our freedom back, baby. Like, what's going on? Like, oh my gosh, like, imagine saying we're going on strike. I would have, hey, listen, the owners are better than me. Let the players who've been keeping me in the red tell me they about to go on the strike. I would have been like, pinky promise? Only if you pinky promise. Pinky promise me that you'll go on strike forever, because I've been losing money ever since. Caitlin is the only reason I'm making money. I'd have been shoved out. Pinky promise, please go on strike. Please.
Let's break down what just took place, because Nneka Ogwumike, the president of the WNBA Players Union, has clearly had a dramatic shift in mindset. And when I say dramatic, I mean she went from tough, no compromise negotiation tactics to openly urging everyone to regain their common sense. She recently told ESPN, we're trying to reach a good agreement, and we're ready to do whatever it takes to get there, while also recognizing that we want a 2026 season. Hold on. You want a 2026 season? You should absolutely want a 2026 season. You should be doing everything in your power to make sure that season happens. Enough with the nonsense. Enough with the theatrics. Sit down, get serious, and finalize a deal. Because here's the reality no one wants to say out loud. This league is finally profitable for the first time in its history. And you're on the verge of destroying all of it because of ego and terrible timing. Have you completely lost your mind? Have you actually lost your ever-loving mind? You're trying to derail momentum at the exact moment things are finally working. Let me explain how this plays out. The second a strike happens, people will immediately pick sides, and those sides will be extreme. That's how social media functions in America today. Everything becomes polarized. No middle ground, no nuance. Just rage, division, and chaos.
Basketball until Caitlin came along. And now you want to just... Now y'all even thinking, even the majority of the players are okay with the strike? This is leadership. This is leadership, man. This is what leadership looks like.
And here's the most unbelievable part of all. Just 9 years ago, when you were younger, optimistic, and talking about the future potential of the league, you were saying the exact opposite. You openly said that fame and wealth were not the core. measure of success for women's basketball players. You argued that true success in sports, especially for women, was about respect, not money. Respect, you literally said that being a women's basketball player was never about financial gain. Back then, you were earning around $50,000 a year. And you accepted that because the conversation was always centered on respect, visibility, and acknowledgement.
They got chartered flights 2 years ago, Caitlin's first year, because it was just baffling when the Fever, for a preseason game to Dallas, they arrived and there were cameras like it was paparazzi in the luggage.
Like the Beatles.
Yeah, it was like it was basically like it was a zoo, and all these cameras were following. It's like, we can't have that, both for her and the rest of the league. So they got chartered flights years before they were expected. And this salary cap that they're negotiating right now is much higher because of the interest level that Caitlin and her fans and Fever fans now have brought in. I mean, I think, the top 25 most viewed games last year, I bet 20 of them at least were Fever games, and that's because of Caitlin solely.
Now fast forward to today. You've just signed a $2 million contract with another league that likely wouldn't even exist if Caitlin Clark hadn't completely transformed women's basketball. Investors wouldn't have gone anywhere near women's basketball with a 10-foot pole just a few years ago. If they had been enthusiastic back then, they would have simply purchased a WNBA franchise. But they weren't interested at all until Caitlin entered the picture, and suddenly everyone wanted in. And now, at this exact moment, you're entertaining the idea of a strike while salaries are on the verge of quadrupling, while players are flying on private jets, while people finally recognize your name, even if they still mispronounce it, while arenas are filling up, while the league is, at long last, becoming profitable after decades of losses. This is what real leadership looks like, and I'm saying that sincerely. This is leadership in the moment you realize you're about to drop the ball on the single biggest opportunity this league has ever seen. You need to wake everyone up. You need to grab them and ask, have you completely lost your minds? We pushed hard, but we're not striking. Are you serious? Because here's what happens if you do strike. You'll return begging for a salary increase that's only double instead of the 4 times increase that was within reach. Momentum cease. Casual fans vanish. Investors walk away. And suddenly you're right back where you started, playing in front of 3,000 people and earning next to nothing. Well, let's put this into perspective. Hey, if you sign the CBA deal currently on the table, you could earn over $1 million this year alone. That's nearly what you've made across your entire 13-year career. 13 seasons, about $1.4 million total, and next year by itself, you could make $1.3 million. Nearly your entire career earnings in a single season. And now you're considering sitting out over what? Leverage you don't actually possess. Principles you abandoned 9 years ago when you said money wasn't the point. The timing could not be worse. Imagine if players had tried this during the 2020 CBA talks. Owners would have been thrilled. They would have gladly shut everything down and walked away, grateful to escape a financial black hole. For more than 20 years, this league was bleeding money non-stop. But now, for the first time ever, owners want this league to survive. They see profits ahead, ratings are rising, attendance is increasing, sponsors are lining up, merchandise is moving, and all of it traces back to the Caitlin Clark effect. Whether people want to acknowledge it or not, let's be honest, since 1996, the WNBA has lost money every single year. Owners kept it alive by subsidizing it themselves or leaning on NBA support just to keep operations running. Players earned a fraction of what men made, and the explanation was always the same: the revenue simply wasn't there. And that explanation was accurate. The revenue truly did not exist. But everything changed last year. Caitlin Clark entered the league and brought millions of new viewers with her. Games began selling out. National broadcasts started pulling real ratings. People who had never watched a WNBA game before suddenly tuned in. And yes, many of them came specifically to watch Caitlin. But they also discovered Angel Reed. They saw A.A. Wilson. They watched Sabrina Ionescu. They were exposed to all the other elite talent across the league. That visibility created opportunities that never existed before. Endorsement deals followed. Social media audiences exploded. New leagues like Unrivaled launched with massive financial backing because women's basketball suddenly made business sense. The entire ecosystem shifted almost overnight. And now, just as everything is finally clicking into place, the Players Union is entertaining the idea of a strike. It's irrational. It's self-inflicted damage. damage on a nearly impressive scale. Here's what many people misunderstand about leverage. Leverage only exists when both sides have something at risk. For the first time in league history, owners actually have something to lose. They're making money and they want to continue making money. That's leverage for the players. But if a strike wipes out momentum, that leverage disappears instantly. New fans leave, sponsors hesitate, investors back out. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most WNBA players are not Caitlin Clark, they're not AJ Wilson. They're not individually driving millions of viewers. They benefit from the rising tide that lifts everyone. And if you sink that ship now, those players suffer the most. The stars will survive. They have endorsements, overseas opportunities, and alternative income streams. But the role players earning $75,000 a year? They need this deal more than anyone. Nneka Oik has finally realized this reality, and that's why her tone changed so abruptly. She went from saying, "We're ready to strike if needed," to quickly emphasizing, "We want a 2026 season to happen," because she ran the numbers. She studied the data, and she talked directly to the players.